Welcome back to the Maple.Realty show, episode 8. Today we're talking about live deals, and we have Lance, Roman, and myself, Tasia, here. Take it away, Roman.
Okay, perfect. So last episode, Lance wasn't here, but I'll go over it quickly. Tasia and I were talking about, so I have a handful of deals that are potentials and that I'm working with, but I guess I'll go over the four that I think are the most interesting right now that I'm dealing with. So Tasia will probably remember the last time we were talking about a rental property that I saw for $3,200, and my clients wanted to make an offer on it, and there was 4 offers on it already. And then we called the agent, or I called the agent to tell them that we were planning to make an offer. And then she said politely, "Don't even bother. We already have 4 offers. We're going to be working with one already." So we had to pass up on it, unfortunately. But we were talking about specifically that even though we're in a buyer's market and a renter's market, depending on the property itself, could dictate the outcome. So a lot of times people are looking at the market as a general whole, but you got to take every subject property as its own individual assessment, right? So with this
Yeah.
one specifically, what happened is my clients came to me, they wanted to make the offer, and they actually wanted to offer less than asking. So it was like $3,200 a month, and they wanted to
Mm-hmm.
offer $2,800 a month. And they asked me, they said, because it's the market's in more favor for buyers and renters, do you think we have a chance offering less than asking? And I
At
said, well,
2,800?
yeah, 2,800.
Oh
So
my God, that's.
So what I said
Mhm.
is, I said what we were talking about last week. It really depends on the property itself. So even though the market as a whole is a buyer's or renter's market, it doesn't mean that this property specifically you're able to offer less, because it could be listed properly for what it's worth, right? So then I did my
Yeah.
research on it, and I said to them, unfortunately, I don't think we could offer less than asking. I said we could try. At this point, I didn't think there was any other offers, so I said we could try maybe $100 less just to see what happens, because it doesn't hurt to try. Assuming there's no offers, and then worst case they just say no, and then we give them the price they want.
Yeah.
But then when I called the agent and she said there was 4 offers, I said,
Yeah.
uh, clients, yeah, there's no chance to offer less, especially
Yeah.
considering the comparables in the area. The location was really good, et cetera, et cetera. Long story short, it ended up actually renting out for $100 more than asking. So I just saw it yesterday. It got leased for 3,300. So I guess my thought is, back to our last episode when we were talking about the market for buyers and renters specifically, just because it's the buyer's market or renters market doesn't mean you could
Yeah.
get anything under asking. It really does depend on the property itself.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree because I'm seeing a lot of properties that are selling under asking, but there's also still quite a few properties that are selling for quite a bit over asking too. So I don't think it's a
I
one
was
size
a
fits.
little surprised that it went over asking though still.
Me too, but I guess if you have 4 and it's a really good property, maybe I don't know. How long was it on
I
the market for?
um about 5 or 6 days. So not long.
Okay.
Yeah, not long at all. But I guess it
Hmm.
comes back to that old saying, location, location, location.
Yeah, location. I'm
But
prime about location.
yeah, speaking of rentals though, um, a couple months ago, I had 2 lease listings up at Kingston Road and Midland area. One ended up getting leased, the main floor house, but the condo, 2 bed, 2 bath, 850 square feet, parking and locker, still hasn't got leased out yet. and it was very slow in November, December, January. But I have noticed
Mm-hmm.
that showings started to pick up in the last couple of weeks specifically. So now we're starting to get a lot of showings on the condo, but still nothing that we're satisfied with in terms of the quality of the tenants. So
Yeah.
I'm not interested. So that's
Hmm.
kind of the first um, property that I wanted to talk about. The second one was unfortunately this guy that I know, his mom is in an old age home. He's the power of attorney, and he
Mm-hmm.
has control of the family home basically. So now he wants to sell it, and I went over to inspect the property. This is in the Wexford Maryville area of Toronto, so that would be like Warden and Lawrence area,
Oh,
and
okay.
this is a detached bungalow, four-time bungalow, so built in the 1950s. Nice size lot. It's a 40 by 125-foot lot, but it's on a
Mm-hmm.
main street though. And when I went to go see the property in person, it's a complete tear down, like
Oh.
complete tear down. Like it's not livable on the inside at all. So basically, we looked at the comparables and we suspect that it should go for around $700,000 because it's a complete teardown. So we'll try to
Oh.
market um, builders and contractors, of course. So if Lance, if you know any builders or contractors, let me know.
Mm-hmm. You need the contractors?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
We're looking for a contractor that wants to flip homes, basically. Get a home and then flip it.
Okay. Like someone who's gonna be involved or just gonna do the construction side.
Yeah. So around $700,000. If you have any contractors that buy homes, under my way.
Like
What?
your contractor is gonna do the
No, he's
flip. Like,
he's
are you asking if contractors who wants to flip houses, like they're gonna invest or they're just gonna do the construction?
They're actually the
he's asking
investor.
for both.
Oh, okay, okay. Um, yeah, I can do the construction side, but I'm not sure if we're planning of investing in properties here right now. I might know some people who might want to invest, but I have to ask them first. Yeah, but I mean, I can help you guys with the construction side for sure.
What do you guys think about properties that are complete teardowns? Do you think
Depends on what you're gonna do. Are you gonna rent it out after? Are you gonna sell it? Sell it? You know, because
I mean, if
at
it's
the
a
end of the
tear down,
day,
you'd have to build it. You'd have to demo it, no, and remove it, and then hold it as
yeah,
land
yeah,
value.
like do
and
you
it
guys
also
think
depends.
that this current market allows enough room to make a decent profit for that to be feasible for builders right now? Because I'm not seeing a lot of construction going on like I was a couple years ago.
Yeah, but I think so when you buy for land value, it might be 600,000, but that land value might actually be worth 800,000 if that property wasn't there because it costs a lot of money to demo and remove and do all of that.
Well, for sure. This one is
Mm,
worth at least 700,000 in this market, I'd say, based on
Yeah.
the comparable.
you're saying that that property, if it's flipped, like if it's renovated, it can sell for 700,000.
No, like right now in its current condition, it's seven
Oh,
hundred
okay.
thousand dollars, but it's a
Oh.
complete tear down. So someone would have to tear it down, and then they're going to be
Mm.
spending a few hundred thousand easily, depending the
Well,
quality of the bill.
yeah, yeah. Well, if you do the, well, maybe you already did your CMA. If you look at the properties around it and very similar to it and how much they got sold off, if they get renovated in a certain way. So those are the ones that you're gonna look at if you're gonna try to renovate a house. 'Cause there's a tear down where you're only tearing down the inside, right? And there's also a tear down where you really tear down the whole building itself, and you're only leaving most of the time the foundation. Depends on how the foundation is or the basement is. That will cost more, but usually those. will generate more money if you sell it. And if you only do the inside, that will cost less, but you cannot sell it for more. At the same time, it also applies on the rental. Because I see a lot of places when you tear down the whole place, the building itself, you can sell it for maybe you got it. Let's say you 700,000, you can sell it for double the price or even more than double the price. And if you just do the inside, you're only getting maybe I don't know, 50,000 to 300,000. You know, if you sell it.
I
So
guess it's because it depends what kind of home you turn it into next. Because I
exactly,
notice a lot of these homes, like especially these wartime bungalows, they're tearing them down and they're making these monster, like big 2-story, 4 or
exactly,
5 bedroom to make it worth their while.
Yeah.
So
exactly,
the profit margin is larger.
exactly. But it doesn't mean that if you do that, that you can sell it for it can also be a big mistake because if you don't do your proper research and because if you're the only one who did it first, that's a risk. And you haven't sold it yet,
Oh, that's
you cannot sell it for
like
more
if no
because
one else on the street has done one.
exactly, exactly. So, if no one did it yet, then you're taking a big risk. But I mean, someone has to start that anyway, right? If you get lucky, then good, A lot of people will start doing theirs in the street now, and maybe they will get you as an agent and also as a contractor. So that's the upside of doing that. But
I guess it depends on your financial situation. If you're a builder that could afford to do it in this market, let's say, while it's a buyer's
yeah.
market, build it and then maybe, like you said,
mm,
rent it out a little and then wait till the market recovers in favor of sellers and then sell it, then it could be okay if you're the first one.
Yes, that's actually the problem. Yeah, I mean, that's actually the dilemma there. That's actually even kind of what I'm going through with even our own rental properties because I've been wanting to sell some of them but is it worth it for me to renovate the house because it's gonna cost me at least 75,000. That's just the least. But I'm planning of making it more than that, so maybe around 100,000. And doing that, I'm gonna lose my renters. So it's not just the cost of the construction you have to look at because if you already have renters, now you're gonna lose that income. And how
Yes.
long are you not gonna have that income? And then once you sell it, do you think you're gonna be able to sell it immediately and for the price that you want? You don't know. That's very risky. So I rather have these renters for now. And keep it the way it is until everything really for it to be really worth renovating the house. So all
That's it.
these things, man, you have to look at into these things.
Are
Yeah.
you seeing any of you guys in both your areas seeing a lot of builds happening right now? I'm not seeing a lot.
No,
Yeah.
no, man,
But in
no.
2021, I was seeing a lot. Like builders were going crazy buying homes, and
I know. I think it's not
but it's
really.
interesting because the price of homes was much higher. So you would think that builders would be buying them now because it's more of a buyer's
That's
market.
a Well, that's the thing. That's why it kind of answered your question. Like builders are not gonna. Builders are thinking the same thing too. Like us, ourselves, or we already know the answer. But asking a builder, they will also hesitate. Maybe they will renovate for you, but to invest, they're gonna be hesitant for sure. Very hesitant because it's risky. Unless they got the place for a really cheap price and if they buy it, then even just rent it out, it will be okay. There's still some actually. Actually, we dealt with that 2 years ago. I had clients with here bought and this guy just kept on buying ran down properties in Richmond Hill, man, cash. At
Wow.
1.3 million, 1.5 million, bro. And I kept on asking him like, what are you gonna do with this? Like, no, I'm just gonna rent it out, and then once the market really picks, I'm gonna sell it and then buy more or buy
Wow.
the same thing. So I'm like, but And then I looked into the street that where he bought. That's where, because I was thinking the same, thinking of doing the same thing. I'm like, cause there's so many random houses in Richmond, man, and
Yeah.
they cost a lot. Yo, if you sell those properties, especially before, you can sell them for at least 3.5, in that
Wow.
same street. And I look into those houses, and it's not only one houses. There were like four or five that they tore down the whole building and built this really big house, and some of them got sold for that price, 3.5, 3.7. I even showed my parents because, told them that this is a good opportunity, and they said, yeah, look into it more because, the market. I told them I'm the one who's actually more cautious because, my parents, when I show them these things, they will jump into it immediately. I said, let's be cautious, do our due diligence first because one once we're in there and the market changes, it's going to be hard to get out, or hard to continue. And good thing we didn't do it during that time because of what's happening right now, man.
Yeah. I think a lot of builders are worried of the direction of the market. If they buy something, for example, like the tear down property that I'm talking about, and then the market goes down even more. Right?
Exactly.
I think
Exactly. So
everyone
I'm
is
monitoring these houses, man. I'm monitoring those houses that these guys bought, and they're still for a lease, but actually the lease went lower. I didn't talk to him yet, but I'm sure he's not happy with what's happening. Well, and also there's nothing going on. There's no selling in that area. And what's funny, man? Like I guess, like I mentioned earlier, when once you start, even though we didn't start the renovating and selling of the properties in that street, when we were just there starting to bring more contractors in that house. Other neighbors who saw us started talking to us and asking for our contacts. They said, "Oh,
Oh,
are you guys realtors? Are you guys builders?" Like, yeah, yeah, we do construction, we do um real estate too. And they're like, "Oh, can we get your number because we're also planning of doing the same thing for our house." So you know,
wow.
that's the upside of you starting in this kind of you know industry. If you start flipping houses for someone or yourself and they see you, sometimes you will get clients for that too.
So speaking of construction, actually, so the third property I want to talk about was a
Mm-hmm.
lady reached out to me. She wants to sell her home. She's getting
Mm,
older. She's in her 70s, and uh, she doesn't want to deal with the headaches of fixing stuff like the roof, the plumbing. She's getting
Yeah.
tired of it. Uh, of
yeah,
just being a homeowner, she's getting tired of. So she wants to sell it and then
yeah.
rent instead. So she has more free time, right? More um, peace of mind, right? If something goes wrong, she doesn't have to worry about the roof and stuff like that. She just lives by
Mm-hmm.
herself. So she has a nice property, 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom. It's a small bungalow, detached bungalow, but in a really good area. It's in the pocket.
Mm,
So it's right at Blake Jones. So Jones and Danforth. So it's a really hot
mm-hmm.
area. But
Mm-hmm.
speaking of construction, she bought it in 1997 or 1990 for like 165,000, something like that.
Nice,
Now she wants to get
nice,
cl- close to 1 million, and I think that she'll get it because the location is just so desirable.
nice.
Even though it's not a seller's market, there's still some situations that make sense for sellers to sell. Like in her
Of
case,
course,
she bought so long ago that she's going to profit no matter what, right? So she's going
exactly,
to make a pretty
exactly.
good profit, and then she'll rent and move on with her new chapter. But her house has a laneway in the back, so it's zoned where you could put a laneway home. So that might be a good property for a builder to buy and then
Mm-hmm.
potentially tear it down or just use the existing foundation, build it up, and then maybe put a laneway home in the back. So you get two properties on the same lot. Like the neighbor's
Mm,
house is already fully done, full construction, top to bottom, and they did a laneway home as well. Did you guys ever go into a laneway home yet?
No,
I've
not
toured
yet.
a and they're pretty nice.
How big was it? How many square feet do you think?
The laneway home.
How much?
Are you asking me about the laneway home? How big it was?
Yeah, the laneway home, the laneway home.
Yeah.
So
So the one that I toured a while ago was about 600 square feet. So it had
that's a
it was like a main floor and then a top floor, no basement.
that's a decent sized laneway home.
What do you guys
It's
think
like
of laneway homes?
I'm open to it if it's in a convenient location. But if it's not in a convenient location, I don't know.
Like if you had a property uh in prime Toronto location and it permitted that you could build a laneway home on it and you had the funds to build it, would you choose to build the laneway home or would you invest in a different property completely?
A different property.
Why?
Because I think the cost of building a laneway home and the organization of doing all of that is too much. I would rather buy on a pre-ready built home and then just renovate it like cosmetically and move on. Because I think like this market, it is a buyer's market, and there are some still really good deals out there.
Yeah, yeah. There is like you know, like what Roman said that
And
uh
you could probably get a
people
property
who bought
less
a long time
capital than
ago,
you
you know.
would to get a building loan to build the laneway home.
Yeah,
So
like you know, people who bought a long time ago that you know they don't really benefit from short-term holding, right? I mean, they could have made way more money if they sold it maybe 5 years ago, or right. But it is what it is now. We're in this situation, and you know, they're not ready to sell their house back then, so they will get what they can get right now, and they're still gonna be happy because like that was like what 100 something, 65, and now close to a million. That's like
Yeah.
more, like almost like you know times five of or more than that, like times six or times seven of her money back then, right?
Yeah.
But
I think the
yeah,
laneway home could make sense if and so, because now the problem is a lot of maybe the newer generation trying to get into the housing market, they're having a hard time, so they're asking their parents uh, to try to work out something to make a laneway home in their backyard if they're able to. The problem though with that is you could tie up your capital from using it towards a down payment to actually buying a whole separate home on your own. So I think maybe if you have parents that are willing to fund the laneway home for you and then let you live in it as a stepping stone until you have your own privacy and stuff until you can buy your own home, then maybe it could make sense for your situation. And then once the kids move out, then the parents could rent out the laneway home and have some extra income. But I think if
mm,
you're a younger person trying to get in the housing market, I think the laneway home or a guarded suite, I think I personally would prefer to just uh, save my money and put it towards my down payment.
the laneway home is the one that you build this small house in your backyard, no?
Exactly,
yes,
yeah. So garden
Oh,
suite
okay,
would be
okay.
like in your backyard. Laneway home would also be in your backyard, but if there was a laneway.
Okay. So I only heard of that term just now, but yeah, I'm kind of familiar with that because yeah, yeah, a lot of people were asking me about that. So I built a shed for a friend last year, and they were asking if they have a very big backyard, and they were even thinking of doing that. First, it was just a shed, right, for them to put stuff in there. Like, oh, how about if we put small house here because their son, who was actually my friend, who's also a realtor, who convinced me to get into real estate, said that, oh, so he rented out his condo in downtown and he moved back with them. So they were planning of renovating the basement this year for him. But they said, what if we just do this small house in the backyard? And I looked into it, how much it costs, and it's actually not so bad. I mean, the only thing is, for that price, you can buy a place somewhere else, actually. Because I saw some, it depends on the size and what comes with it, right? some are more than 150,000, like 175, depends, even 200,000. I mean, for that money, you can actually buy a place somewhere, almost buy a place. So, it still depends. I mean, if they live near downtown Toronto, Scarborough area, so, and with a big backyard, I don't know if it's gonna increase the price of the house if you do that. It might. Or you can rent it out too. I don't know. Maybe do Airbnb if
I
maybe if
think it would definitely
they're
increase the price of the home for sure.
it will increase the price. Okay. So I don't know. I haven't done my research on that yet too about what if you do this or that not, right?
Like I
Okay.
know some
So at
people what
least
they're doing. My grandparents, their neighbor two doors down have a laneway home, and what they did is they built the laneway home,
mm,
and basically the kids took over the main house, and then the parents moved into the laneway home to give the kids more space to start a family and have kids.
oh,
Yeah.
that's a good parent. That's a good parent
Yeah.
then.
So people
Yeah,
could
that's
do that
very good.
here. They could build a laneway home, move in the laneway home, and then rent out the main
Yeah.
house for additional income. But I think there's just
Oh,
a lot more red tape. You got to get uh, drawings done, builder's permit, stuff like that. So I think it really depends on your situation and your reason behind wanting to do it. Then I guess it can make sense.
mm,
But in a general sense, I think I'd rather just, like Tasia said, just probably buy another property.
Yeah. And it's so much time that you save too, than to build a whole laneway.
And I guess
yeah.
it
So
depends on the resources you have. Like Lance
Yeah.
has some resources in contracting and stuff, so it could make sense if you have resources available to build it yourself.
yeah,
True.
yeah. If you're a handyman and can build it yourself, then maybe it makes more sense. And it's also, some family they have this very close family ties. They want to keep it within. They want to be close to each other. And also if you have kids, it's good to have your parents with you or other family with you, where you guys can help each other. And I guess that will apply to these people more than just getting a place somewhere else because I mean, for that price, it will be far, for you to buy a place for somewhere near 200,000, you have to go somewhere further. So,
That is good.
yeah. So, I mean, for you to spend that much and still stay in Toronto with, very close to your family, you guys are kind of still living with each other, but you still have the privacy. People might, it applies to some people, and like you said, if it will increase the value of your property, then why not?
I've seen some
Should be
land
good.
where things like around 200,000, like you're saying, and then I've seen some up to like $600,000 cost of
Well,
building.
I think that will be a very big, not be very big, but that's gonna be a nice house. And I guess they have a big backyard because the 200,000 is not so bad. I mean, that's good for, I guess, a family of three, where there's one kid, you guys can have, I guess, two bedrooms on that. So,
And
I
I
mean,
guess it
that's not
depends.
bad.
Maybe if someone really doesn't want to live in a condo, then it could be a
Exactly.
different alternative because it could be a small, like you're saying, two bedroom, one washroom type of situation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's almost kind of living in a condo that 200,000. I think it's kind of the same, almost the same size, but different vibe. You don't have to worry about not, being too loud because because it's just wall to wall to your neighbor, right? And you have your own privacy. You have your backyard. You have, like you said, you have just your family on the other side. You guys have, you don't have to bring maybe your kid to a daycare or,
yeah,
you know,
true.
worry about, yeah. eh, it's actually, if I'm gonna choose between a condo and that, I'll do that. If I have to live I only have those two choices to live at, I'll choose that because at least I'm still with family and I still have, and I have my privacy and all these things, man.
I
Should be
agree.
worth it.
I agree with
And
you.
maybe if you flip that house too, I mean, if you keep on renovating that small house, it also increases the value of the whole house, or the whole property over time. It's like you have two houses in one lot, right?
Yeah.
So,
The only problem is, then if you're ready to make like your next move, if you start off in a condo, then you could sell it and hopefully
I know.
it's
Yeah.
appreciated. Or but then if you're in a market like now where the condos haven't appreciated, right?
Hmm.
It really depends, I guess.
It all depends. Like you said, I mean, what you can do is it depends on how much the value of the whole property increased because of what you did. If it increased by so much that maybe you can ask whoever owns the property, if it's you or your parents, do maybe do a HELOC, like a home equity line of credit, and maybe help you out buy another place from the increase, and then
Sure,
just rent out that small house to someone else now, and it will cover whatever.
sure.
I
That's a good
mean,
point.
there's gonna be so much strategies there. I mean, it's still up to you. That's the only thing. Like it's not like you own the property, right? It still belongs to the same property that where you erected it. But I mean, I think there's still gonna be. I don't know. I mean, we still have to see how because this is a very new industry. So we still
I
have to
think
see
the
how it
most
works.
important thing is to really plan out why you want to do it and have a
Mm-hmm.
properly written agreement with whoever owns the property, like your parents, on how it's going to be structured, how long you plan on staying there, maybe what's going to
Mm-hmm.
result afterwards. But really have it in writing and detail planned agreement,
Man,
so everything's properly documented. So I have
that's
one
true.
one last property that I want to talk about, potential clients. So right now, most sellers are not. They're foregoing to sell. They're waiting for the market. And most experiences that I'm talking with in terms of sellers, they're saying we want to wait, we want to wait, we want to wait.
Same.
Which is
Exactly.
fine.
I know.
But I have clients, and sometimes, even if we're in a buyer's market, it might make a lot of sense for you to sell still, depending on your situation. And this is an example of one of them. So I have a really, really good past clients of mine that I helped buy in 2021. So they bought at the peak of the market and they paid 715,000 for a condo townhome in Whitby.
Mm.
Very
Mm-hmm.
nice townhome. It's an end unit, so it's almost like a semi, but it's an end unit townhome. 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, fully renovated, parking, garage, nice small backyard. So now they had 2 kids at the time when I helped them buy that property. Fast
Mm-hmm.
forward now, 5 years later, they have 3 kids now. So their family is
Mm-hmm.
growing, and they reached out to me asking me what their home is probably worth right now because they would like to upsize. They want to sell it and buy a bigger home in the same area in Whitby. So at first, my automatic uh, thought was that it's probably going to be worth a lot less than it was in 2021. So when I started doing the research on the comparables, specifically in that location, that property type, it actually didn't lose its value too much, which was surprising. And it held
Mm-hmm.
its value quite well. It didn't increase in value, but it also didn't decrease in value. It kind of just stayed stagnant. But
Mm.
the homes that they're looking at in terms of buying a detached home have come down a lot in that area compared to
Mm-hmm.
2021. So it makes sense for them to sell now and break even, or maybe even lose a little bit after fees, and then buy the detached home while they could get it at a much cheaper price. So I thought that was very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really tough market, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Like you said, it's not like you cannot generalize the whole real estate industry. What's happening, right? Like there are
It's not
places where,
always a bad time to sell in a buyer's market, is what I'm saying. It could make sense where it actually benefits you to sell in a buyer's market.
yeah, it is. It is. That's why that's our job to educate these clients where because they all they just listen, they don't know, like that's where we come in, where we have to reevaluate their place, right? And maybe sometimes to to everyone's surprise, it's a good, if they need to sell and it didn't really affect them much, then lucky for them, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, we just have to convince them for us to kind of see and show them where their house stands right now, right? I mean, like it didn't drop, it didn't go up that much, but it's not like you're losing, it's not like you're winning that much. If you need to sell your property, then you can sell your property, right? It's not like everyone else is losing right now. Some people are actually winning, like your client, 150, 165,000 to close to a million, and where can you get that, man? That's like lottery right there.
Yeah. Well, I have some
So I
other
guess we should
deals that
focus on those
but
clients, man.
I think I'm going to leave it at that. Those were the four that I wanted to talk about. I thought they were interesting.
No, but that is a good topic because that's I think that will help us realtors to know where we can help the most right now. Because we cannot force people to sell or buy when it doesn't make sense. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It's like we have to really help them where it really benefits them, right?
I've noticed
Well,
that there's a lot of power of sales lately. Has anyone else noticed that?
I did notice
Or
that actually.
power of attorney anyway.
It
I'm
made
not
sense.
sure.
Renewals are coming due. 5-year renewals.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
you were just mentioning that on our last few episodes that renewals are coming up and it might be a tough situation for some people because we
Yeah,
have this thing where yeah, you go ahead.
I think there's two factors. I think there's the renewals coming up, but I also think there's a lot of people that are either going to seniors' homes
Yeah,
or
that
they
too,
passed
that too.
away.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the lots of
so
factors there for you.
so based off those few things, I think there'll be more coming and steadily coming.
I
They're all
mean, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder actually, like this is gonna sound weird, but during Corona, there was a lot of people that passed away, and maybe a lot of
Mhm.
prop hit the market because a lot of those people passed away that own prop.
Um, well, I'm sure. Well, most likely, a lot of them already got sold during the pandemic, right? So,
I don't
that
know what
was the
the
golden
average
age.
death rate is in Toronto and the GTA per year, but I don't know how much higher it was during Corona. So I
Yeah.
don't think that's probably a factor. Maybe
Okay.
we'd have to pull the
I-
numbers and see how much the increase was.
yeah. All right. Well, I think are we good here? I think
I'm
so.
good.
Okay. All right, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you
I
for
think
watching the
that was a good topic. We have more insights for us realtors, and I guess also like if we have clients there who are listening, at least they know that what applies to them and what's if they're in that um good side of this market right now, right?
Mhm. So we'll see you maybe next week. I don't know, but thank you for watching.
Oh yeah. See you guys.